On the 5th day, thanks again to the sheep, another secret of the little prince's life was revealed to me. At that moment I was very busy trying to unscrew a bolt that had jammed in my engine. I was quite worried, for my plane crash was beginning to seem extremely serious, and the lack of drinking water made me fear the worst.
If a sheep eats bushes, does it eat flowers too?
A sheep eats whatever it finds.
Even flowers that have thorns?
Yes, even flowers that have thorns.
Then what good are thorns? Then what good are thorns?
The little prince never let go of a question once he'd asked it. I was annoyed by my jammed bolt, and I answered without thinking, "Thorns are no good for anything. They're just the flower's way of being mean."
Oh, I don't believe you. Flowers are weak. They're naive. They reassure themselves whatever way they can. They believe their thorns make them frightening.
I made no answer. At that moment I was thinking, if this bolt stays jammed, I'll knock it off with a hammer.
Then you think flowers...
No, not at all. I don't think anything. I just said whatever came into my head. I'm busy here with something serious.
Something serious? You talk like the grown-ups. You confuse everything. You've got it all mixed up. For millions of years, flowers have been producing thorns. For millions of years, sheep have been eating them all the same. And it's not serious trying to understand why flowers go to such trouble to produce thorns that are good for nothing. Suppose I happen to know a unique flower, one that exists nowhere in the world except on my planet. One that a little sheep can wipe out in a single bite one morning. Just like that. Without even realizing what he's doing. That isn't important?
He couldn't say another word. Night had fallen. I dropped my tools. What did I care about my hammer, about my bolt, about thirst and death? There was, on one star, on one planet, on mine, the Earth, a little prince to be consoled. I took him in my arms. I rocked him. The flower you love is not in danger. I'll draw you a muzzle for your sheep. I'll draw you a fence for your flower. I didn't know what to say. It's so mysterious, the land of tears. I soon learned to know that flower better. On the little prince's planet, there had always been very simple flowers, but this one had grown from a seed brought from who knows where, and the little prince had kept a close watch over a sprout that was not like any of the others. It might have been a new kind of baobab, but the sprout soon stopped growing and began to show signs of blossoming. The little prince, who had watched the development of an enormous bud, realized that some sort of miraculous apparition would emerge from it. And then, one morning, precisely at sunrise, she showed herself.
I'm hardly awake, forgive me. Oh, I'm still all untidy.
How lovely you are.
Aren't I? And I was born at the same time as the sun. I believe it's breakfast time. Would you be so kind as to tend to me?
And the little prince, utterly abashed, having gone to look for a watering can, served the flower. But she soon began tormenting him with her rather touchy vanity. One day, for instance, alluding to her 4 thorns, she remarked to the little prince,
"Oh, I'm ready for tigers, with all their claws."
There are no tigers on my planet. And besides, tigers don't eat weeds.
I'm not a weed.
Oh, forgive me.
I am not at all afraid of tigers, but I have a horror of drafts. You wouldn't happen to have a screen?
A horror of drafts. That's not a good sign for a plant. How complicated this flower is.
After dark you will put me under glass. How cold it is where you live. It's quite uncomfortable. Well, where I come from,
And she suddenly broke off. She had come here as a seed. She couldn't have known anything of other worlds. Humiliated at having let herself be caught on the verge of so naive a lie, she coughed 2 or 3 times in order to put the little prince in the wrong.
What about that screen?
I was going to go look for one, but you were speaking to me.
Then she made herself cough again, in order to inflict a twinge of remorse on him all the same. So the little prince, despite all the goodwill of his love, had soon come to mistrust her. He had taken seriously certain inconsequential remarks and had grown very unhappy. On the morning of his departure, he put his planet in order, and when he watered the flower one last time and put her under glass, he felt like crying.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
I've been silly. I ask for your forgiveness. Try to be happy.
He was surprised that there were no reproaches. He stood there, quite bewildered, holding the glass bell in midair.
Of course I love you. It was my fault you never knew. Oh, it doesn't matter. But you were just as silly as I was. Try to be happy. Oh, and put that glass thing down. I don't want it anymore.
But the wind.
Oh, my cold isn't that bad. The night air will do me good. I'm a flower.
But the animals.
Oh, I need to put up with 2 or 3 caterpillars if I want to get to know the butterflies. Apparently they're very beautiful. Otherwise, who will visit me? You'll be far away. As for the big animals, I'm not afraid of them. I have my own claws.
And she naively showed her 4 thorns.
Don't hang around like this. It's irritating. You made up your mind to leave now. Now go.
For she didn't want him to see her crying. She was such a proud flower.